With Aston Villa having confirmed their place back at the top table of English football in the playoff final against Derby County on Monday afternoon, we now know the 24 teams that will compete in the 2019-20 Sky Bet Championship season. We are no strangers to a Championship video, and we may well follow up today's video with a look at every Championship club's record signing if the demand is there. Seen as though this video is referring to the 2019-20 Championship season, when we say where was the team 10 years ago, we'll be referring to the 2009-10 campaign, rather than the 2008-09 one. Right, here are the 24 teams competing in the 2019-20 Sky Bet Championship. Where were they 10 years ago? Barnsley, the Championship. Going in alphabetical order, we start with newly promoted Barnsley. A Premier League club back in 1998, the Tigers have threatened to become a bit of a yo-yo club between League One and the Championship over the last 5 or 6 seasons. It's been a while since Barnsley have done anything other than struggle in the Championship, and the 2009-10 season 10 years ago was no exception. Under the stewardship of Mark Robins, the South Yorkshireman finished 18th, 7 points above the relegation zone. Birmingham City, the Premier League. The 2009-10 season was a very happy one for Birmingham City, as they finished 9th in the Premier League, having won promotion under Alex McLeish the previous season. There was a big gap between Birmingham in 9th and Everton in 8th, but finishing the season 20 points clear of the relegation zone showed what an exceptional season it had been. Things went south the following season as Birmingham were relegated, and they've been in the Championship ever since. Blackburn Rovers, the Premier League. Blackburn Rovers finished level on points with Birmingham City in the Premier League back in 2009-10, with the Lancashire side having been regular fixtures in the top flight and no strangers to a top-half finish at the time. The Venkies took over the following season though, and Blackburn were relegated in 2012. Ewood Park hasn't seen Premier League football since, and the club recently spent a season down in League One. Brentford, League One. Brentford hadn't played in the second tier since the early 1990s, up until their most recent promotion from League One in 2014, and they were a mid-table side in League One back in 2009-10. Charlie McDonald led the B scoring charts, whilst a young Arsenal loanee by the name of Wojciech Szczesny was the club's first choice between the sticks. Brentford have established themselves as a very good footballing side in the Championship over the last 5 years, but they've a tricky habit of selling their best players, and Bees fans will hope that isn't the case with star man Neil Maupay this summer. Bristol City, the Championship. Having reached the Championship playoff final in 2008, Bristol City had dropped into mid-table mediocrity by 2009-10. Things got a whole lot worse with the relegation into League One in 2013, but the Robins bounced back in style after just a couple of seasons at that level. Now under the stewardship of Lee Johnson, the club experienced very up-down form in the Championship last season and ultimately just missed out on a playoff place. Cardiff City, the Championship. Cardiff City were regulars in the upper reaches of the Championship table around a decade ago, but they just seemingly couldn't seal the deal with regards to promotion to the Premier League. They finished 4th in 2009-10, 4th again in 2010-11, and 6th in 2011-12. They finally won promotion in 2013, but were immediately relegated, and it was a similar story under Neil Warnock last season. Charlton Athletic, League One. Having spent 7 seasons in the Premier League between 2000 and 2007, it's been a rough 12 years for Charlton Athletic since then. The 2009-10 season was Charlton's first in the third tier since 1981, and they would be losing playoff semi-finalists following defeat to Swindon Town. They have since won promotion to the Championship, been relegated, and just last week won promotion once again in dramatic fashion against Sunderland in the playoff final. Derby County, the Championship. From recent playoff winners to a team that just doesn't seem to have a very happy relationship with the playoffs, Derby County were beaten 2-1 by Aston Villa in Monday's Championship playoff final. 10 years ago, the Rams were still recovering from becoming officially the worst team in Premier League history. It took 3 or 4 seasons in the Championship to get that out of their systems, but they have finished in the top 10 every year since 2014. Fulham, the Premier League. The 2009-10 campaign was a pretty special one for Fulham, who reached the final of the Europa League under Roy Hodgson. They lost that game 2-1 to Atletico Madrid, but it was still a fantastic achievement for a team that had stayed up just by the skin of their teeth only a couple of years earlier. Having been relegated from the Premier League in 2014, Fulham returned to the top flight last season, but it was to be a brief return. Despite spending more than £100 million in the summer, a leaky defence gave them no platform to build upon, and the team finished 19th. Huddersfield Town, League One. The last of the three relegated teams from the Premier League last season, Huddersfield Town had a really severe case of second season syndrome, finishing in last place with just 16 points to their name. Back in 2009-10, the Terriers finished in the playoff places at the start of an era synonymous with Jordan Rhodes' goals at the John Smith Stadium. Rhodes scored 87 goals in 148 games for the club, but they've achieved new heights since his departure in 2012. Hull City, the Premier League. The 2009-10 season was only Hull City's second in the top flight since being founded more than 100 years earlier, but after their stunning rise between 2004 and 2008, financial ruin beckoned. The Tigers were relegated from the Premier League and looked to be in serious danger of plummeting through the divisions before the Albion stepped in. 2 promotions, an FA Cup final and European football have followed before the Alams managed to make themselves even less popular than the club's previous regime through a bogus attempted name change and the removal of concessionary ticket pricing. Leeds United, League One. The 2009-10 season was Leeds' last in the third tier, as they finally won promotion back into the Championship following 3 seasons in League One. The 2019-20 campaign will be Leeds' 10th in a row in the Championship and their 16th outside of the Premier League, and the club came closest to returning to the top flight last season under Marcelo Bielsa. Having spent much of the campaign in first and second place, Leeds dropped out of the automatic promotion places towards the end of the season before throwing away a 2-goal lead against Derby County in the playoff semi-finals. Luton Town, the Conference. It seems unusual seeing Luton Town back in the second tier since the club was playing non-league football as recently as 2014. They've invested heavily by lower league standards, but more importantly, they've invested wisely, and they won promotion from League One last season. Back in 2009-10, the Hatters had just been relegated out of the Football League, and they were losing playoff semi-finalists in what is now known as the National League. Middlesbrough, the Championship. Having been relegated from the Premier League in 2009, the 2009-10 campaign was Middlesbrough's first in the second tier since 1998. They finished 11th, and Borough have spent just 1 season in the top flight in the decade since then. That was the 2016-17 season when Borough weren't blown away in the Premier League but simply didn't have adequate firepower to keep their heads above the water. Millwall, League One. Promoted along with Leeds in the 2009-10 season, Millwall sealed their place back in the Championship via a playoff final win against Swindon at Wembley. Having guided the club to promotion from League One, Kenny Jackett kept Millwall in the Championship for the next 3 seasons. They have since had a couple of seasons back in the third tier, and they finished just 1 place above the relegation zone in the Championship last season. Nottingham Forest, the Championship. Nottingham Forest haven't tasted top-flight football in 2 decades since getting relegated back in 1999, which is an awfully long time for 2-time European Cup winners. Forest finished 3rd in the Championship in the 2009-10 season, but lost their playoff semi-final to Blackpool. They made the playoffs again the following season, but haven't replicated that feat in the 8 seasons since. Preston North End, the Championship. Having finished in the playoff places the previous season, Preston dropped all the way down to 17th in the 2009-10 season, and they were relegated down to League One in the season after that. Promotion back into the Championship came in 2015, where the club have since finished 11th, 7th and 14th in their 4 seasons back at this level. Queen's Park Rangers, the Championship. Pretty regular fixtures in the Championship, barring the odd season in the Premier League over the last 15 years, Queen's Park Rangers finished 13th in the 2009-10 campaign. They did win the league the following season before embarking on a campaign of pretty reckless spending in the top flight that didn't really work out. Now managed by Mark Warburton, the club finished 19th in the Championship last season. Reading. The Championship. It's a similar story with Reading as it is with QPR, and the Royals finished 9th back in the 2009-10 Championship season, with Gylfi Sigurdsson being their star man and top scorer. Now under the stewardship of Portuguese journeyman Jose Manuel Gomes, Reading finished 20th last season. Sheffield Wednesday. The Championship. This list serves as a reminder of how long some traditionally large football clubs have now spent either outside of the Premier League and even outside of the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday may have been in the Championship in the 2009-10 season, but they were relegated, and they spent the next 2 seasons in League One. They've had a pretty tumultuous time since returning to the Championship, including 2 playoff campaigns, and the top 6 will probably be the aim for Steve Bruce next season. Stoke City. The Premier League. Stoke City were safe as houses under Tony Pulis back in the 2009-10 season, finishing the campaign slap bang in the middle of the table and 17 points clear of the relegation zone. The Potters enjoyed a decade of Premier League football before being relegated in 2018, and they were the most disappointing side in the Championship last season. Despite having, on paper, the strongest squad in the league, they finished 16th, and it'll be interesting to see how they begin next season. Swansea City. The Championship. Back in 2009-10, Swansea were under the stewardship of Paulo Sousa, who finished in 7th place following on from the good work that had been done by Roberto Martinez. Brendan Rodgers took that footballing philosophy and ran with it the following season, and Swansea won promotion to the Premier League. They stuck around for 7 seasons, playing some lovely football and winning a League Cup, but were relegated along with Stoke in 2018. West Bromwich Albion. The Championship. Making it 3 from 3 in terms of teams relegated from the Premier League during the 2017-18 season, West Bromwich Albion was still very much a yo-yo club 10 years ago. Promoted in 2002, relegated in 2003, promoted in 2004, relegated in 2006, promoted in 2008, relegated in 2009, and promoted once again during the season in question in 2010, it's easy to see why they picked up that tag. Following some solidity in the top flight, the Baggies were relegated in 2018 as we said, and lost to rivals Aston Villa in last season's playoff semis. Wigan Athletic. The Premier League. The fact that they've had 2 relegations from the Championship in recent years makes it easy to forget how recently Wigan Athletic were regulars in the Premier League. They were playing top flight football and won the FA Cup as recently as 2013, the year that brought an end to the Latics' 8-year stay in the Premier League. In 09-10, the club finished 16th, 6 points above the bottom 3. So that's it for today's Not Actually a 7. As always, let us know any new video ideas you'd like to see from us in the comments. Thanks for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for HITC Sevens for more from us.